3a. Determine the slope of a line given a table of values, a graph, 2 points on the line, and an equation written in various forms. We're going to begin with a do now on labeling points in the coordinate plane. Pause the video now and write down the coordinates for points A through H. The coordinate of point A is -8, +4. The coordinate of point B is -4, +6. The coordinate of point C is +2, +9. The coordinate of point D is +4, +3. The coordinate of point E is -6, 0. The coordinate of point F is -6, -5. The coordinate of point G is +2, -4. And lastly, the coordinate of point H is +7, -4. In this video, we're going to be talking about slope. Slope refers to the direction and steepness of a line. Our formula for slope is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And we should remember from 8th grade that there are 4 kinds of slope. The first kind is positive slope. That's when the line is increasing from left to right. The second is negative slope, when the line is decreasing from left to right. Zero slope is when you have a horizontal line, and undefined or no slope is when you have a vertical line, straight up and down. These are the steps I like to use when I'm finding a slope. Step 1, label your x's and y's. Step 2, label your 1s and 2s. Step 3, substitute into the formula. Step 4, write all at once as a big fraction in your calculator. And step 5, simplify, just press enter. Remember though, always write your answer as a fraction for slope, not as a decimal. If you get a decimal answer, you're gonna wanna convert that answer back into a fraction. Let's practice finding slope using the points from our do now. We're gonna first start with the positive points. Step 1 is to label your x's and y's. Every ordered pair has an x coordinate and a y coordinate. That's my x and my y. And then again, we're gonna replicate that x, y. Step 2 is to label your 1s and 2s. This is my first point here. So I'm gonna call this x1 and y1. This is my second point. So I'm gonna call that x2 and y2. Now, step 3 is to substitute into the formula. The first value I need is y2. And we see here that my y2 represents 6. So I'm gonna put a 6 into my formula. Minus, always minus as part of the formula. Y1 corresponds to 4. So I'm gonna put my 4 right there in my formula. In my numerator, I have 6 minus 4. Now, if we keep going, the next value I need is x2. My x2 is -4. Minus x1. My x1 is -8. And that leaves me with this big fraction, 6 minus 4 over -4 minus -8. Now you can use a 4-function calculator and simplify top and then the bottom, and then write the fraction in simplest form. Or we could just write this in our calculator as one giant fraction, 6 minus 4 in the numerator, -4 minus -8 in the denominator, and just hit enter. It's going to give you the answer is 1/2. I'm going to draw a line connecting these 2 points, and we see that it is in fact a positive line. It increases from left to right. And we would say that the slope of this line is 1/2, 1/2. Let's now do the same process for a line that should have a negative slope. We have these 2 points, 2, 9 and 4, 3, x, y, 1, 1, 2, 2. In my numerator, I have y2 minus y1. My y2 is 3. My y1 is 9. My x2 is 4. And my x1 is 2. So on my calculator, I'm going to put 3 minus 9 over 4 minus 2. And that's going to give me -3. When I draw a line through those 2 points, the slope of that line is -3. And the line is in fact falling from left to right. So So that is a negatively sloped line. Now I'm going to use these 2 points, xy, xy, 1, 1, 2, 2. My y2 is 0, minus my y1 is -5. My x2 is -6, minus my x1 is -6 as well. 0 minus -5 over -6 minus -6 is going to give me undefined. When I draw a line through those 2 points, it is in fact a vertical line. Therefore, the slope of that line is undefined. The reason this line has an undefined slope is because if you look at the denominator, we have -6 minus -6. Anything take away itself is going to leave you 0, and you cannot divide by 0. You can't have 0 in the denominator. So that is why you yield an undefined result. Lastly, let's find the slope of these 2 points. Again, xy, xy, 1, 1, because that's my first point, 2, 2, because that's my second point. My value for y2 is -4. My value for y1 is -4 again. My value for x2 is +7. My value for x1 is +2. So I have -4 minus -4 over 7 minus 2, and that's going to give me 0. The reason it gives me 0 is because this time we have a number minus itself in the numerator. So when you have a 0 in the numerator, no matter what you divide 0 by, it's going to give you 0. So that is why this line across the screen, a horizontal line, gives you a slope of 0. On this slide, we would draw some more points in various locations and practice finding the slope of those points. Now we're going to discuss calculating slope from a table. It's the same process as calculating slope from points. However, you just use the values in the rows of the table. So here is my row 1, the first row of the table. So I'm going to label the x, x1 and the y, y1. In my next row here, I'm going to have x2 and y2. Remember that you only need 2 points to find the slope. So I'm not going to pay attention to the rest of this table. I'm only going to use the first 2 rows. My y2 is -1. My y1 is -3. My x2 is -1. And my x1 is -2. So I have -1 minus -3 over -1 minus -2. And that's going to give me +2. Now let's use a different pair of points and see what happens to the slope. I'm going to take those points away. I'm going to go down to the third row of my table, and I'm going to label those points x1 and y1. In my now fourth row, I'm going to label those points x2 and y2. Substitute into my formula, y2 is 3, y1 is 1, x2 is 1, and x1 is 0. So I have 3 minus 1 over 1 minus 0, and that also gives me 2. So what happens to the slope? The slope doesn't change. As long as the table represents a linear function, the slope will not change no matter what points you use. The slope is the same anywhere along the line. So whatever points you use, you're going to get the same answer for your slope, as long as the table represents a linear function. Lastly, we're going to calculate slope from an equation. The steps to find the slope from an equation are to first graph the equation. Then you're going to press menu, analyze graph, dy over dx, or menu 6.5. And if you get a decimal answer, you're going to have to convert it to a fraction, only when necessary. Sometimes the question will have an answer that has a whole number and you can leave it as such, but remember, no decimals, we need to convert decimals to fractions. Let's practice using the example y equals -5x plus 2. So first you want to graph the equation. That's how the graph would look on your calculator. Now you're going to press menu. You're going to go to option 6, which is analyze graph, and then option 5, which is dy dx. Just touch anywhere on the graph. Remember I said the slope on a line is the same no matter where on the line you are. So just click onto the graph and you're gonna see that the slope of this line is -5. -5 is not a decimal, so we do not need to convert this to a fraction. The answer is just -5. I would like you to pause the screen right now and practice these on your own. The answer for number 1, the slope for equation 1 is -2. The slope of equation 2 is 3/2. The slope of equation 3 is 0.667. Let's understand that that is 0.66666666666. The calculator is going to round the last digit for you. It's not going to show you all those sixes. So that's a 6 repeating. If you want to convert this to a decimal in your calculator, you're going to want to type in a bunch of sixes. Let's take a look at what I was just talking about. From the home page, we're going to go to menu, add calculator. Remember the calculator gave us 0.667. Press menu, go to number, approximate to fraction. You can see it gives us something weird, 667 over 1,000. That's because this number is read 667 thousandths. So let's try this again, but enter in a bunch of sixes. Just keep going, 66666 across the page. Now do menu, number, approximate to fraction again, hit enter. You see it now recognizes that decimal as 2/3. 0.666 repeating is a very common decimal. You should be able to recognize that immediately as 2/3. However, if you don't, then just go through the process that I just showed you here and you'll be able to get your answer as a fraction. And then lastly, the slope of equation number 4 is -1. Thanks for watching this video. For more videos like this, please hit the subscribe button. Also, follow us on social media or visit us at www.almightyalgebra.com.